This is Ask a Licensed Cosmetologist. And we also have Don Ferguson, who is a, what are you? Licensed cosmetologist, a celebrity stylist,
A
makeup
master
artist.
stylist.
Yes.
Right.
And so we're gonna go ahead and get started. We are finally, you know what I'm saying, ready to do our thing. I pray everyone had a wonderful, wonderful week. And let's get started talking about salon talk, which today, if you guys were able to see, I posted that we're doing about a woman's worth. Okay, a woman's worth. So let's go ahead, and I think one of the reasons what prompted me to talk about a woman's worth is because a lot of times we hear women say, I know my worth. We kind of talk about it, and, and some of the things we talk about, but a lot of times I think we kind of scratch on the surface of a woman when we're talking about our worth. And what the other reason is because we have so many women that are dealing with hair issues, skin issues, self-esteem issues, different things like that, that I wanted to chime in and talk about it more in depth because of the fact it'll make sense on why we're making the decisions that we're making today. Does that make sense, Don? You know what I'm saying?
Yes, that makes sense.
I got to tell you, you look really, really cute today. I just wanted to let you know that.
Yes,
All right.
likewise. I love the colors. I love the fringe in the dress. Oh my goodness, so
Thank
summery.
you.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. So one of the things, and you and I always be discussing stuff and things like that, and we were talking about the fact that how hold on real quick, how we see why are women doing the things that they're doing. Um, okay, good, it's up and running. Why are women doing the things that they're doing, making the decisions that they're making when it comes to their hair? And this week, was it this week? What's today? Sunday. So I think it was Friday night. I was actually watching. TikTok is addictive, right? So I'm watching TikTok, and on TikTok, it was this lady. She had to be about in her 40s, maybe late 40s, and she was talking about how bad she had been going to this salon, this lady in Atlanta. I was telling you about it, right? And
Mm-hmm.
she's telling her story. As she's telling the story, I was like, let me look at the comments. It is like hundreds of comments about this particular hairstylist, right? And they were like, oh, she nasty, she real disrespectful. They were saying all this stuff. So what are we talking about? Did you read the subject? Hi, Kylie. A shout out. Hi, I'm giving you a shout out. Thank you. Hey, D. All right. So what is that? Kylie, your girl. Hey, Nishant. I live in Atlanta. Okay. Oh, you live in Atlanta. Okay, cool. So the lady was saying how she was going to the lady, and the client was saying this, and she was saying that how bad she was mistreated, and the only reason she kept going to her was because she had alopecia. She had only 25% of her hair. She only had the back part. Everything else was bald. And so she said that she was going to her because she knew how to put the extensions on with the bonding glue. And she was going to her because she liked the way she cut and styled her hair. So she was afraid to make a complaint. Okay, I live in Georgia, Powder Springs. Okay, I don't know what that is. We in Miami, but I don't know what that is. But anyway, she was saying how the fact that she 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 was living in this place. She was going to this place, and she was afraid to complain. She said it was so bad that she came in with a big bag, like a medium sized bag, not a big bag. And the stylist said, that's too much in my salon. So she made the lady regret.
Her book bag.
I said, wait a minute, we can't bring our purse in the salon now, because she had one of the little small suites. I said, and I'm like, that just irks, but that bothers me so much, because in my mind, I'm like, why she like that, right? Because
Right.
a lot of us choose popularity. A lot of the clients choose popularity over the character, or they choose the gift over the, you know what I'm saying, over the whole thing, the professionalism, all those different things. And so I was looking at her. I said, "Ooh, look, she got it. Her self-esteem is shot. The lady was talking to her bad. The daughter started talking to her bad. And she said she was already humiliated because she didn't even want the daughter in the room because she was bald. Uh-huh. So it was just like, I just looked at her, and she said, it's hard for me to even come on here and talk about this because I got to tell y'all that I have alopecia. Now, the first thing I want to say is that she has alopecia now, but she didn't have alopecia before. I'm just listening to her talk. I'm like, you was doing bad practices and getting those services done to the point. And this is a lot of our women, right? And this is where you can't be telling me, you know your worth, you the bad chick boss, whatever they be saying or whatever. You can't say those things and you see your hair falling out over and over. And you keep going to these hairstylists that you know don't care anything about your hair. So that's the first thing I wanted to point out. But I wanted to hear what your thoughts is so far on just that alone, like the hairstylist and everything.
My thoughts on the story is that there was no value there to begin with. So when she booked this, as she continued to receive this service, she kept receiving hair loss. Like, I'm sure the
Right.
stylist saw at some point that the style was not helping her hair; it was destroying her hair.
Mhm.
So that
Right.
was the value, right there. You didn't care.
Right.
You
Right.
don't care enough to protect your hair.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
So.
you have to
Mm-hmm.
make a conscious decision to say, well, um, let me find someone that does a proper lace install. If you have
Mm-hmm.
complete alopecia in the front, you have to decide, what is this service going to do? Right? Is it going to preserve the integrity of my hair, or am I
Right.
going to lose the integrity of my hair by providing or receiving this particular service? So, am I going to have traction alopecia?
Right.
You know, is it, stressful, the removal of the install? No one wants to walk around with a bald frontal. As a
Right.
woman,
Right.
that would take a blow to my self-esteem. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, this is why certain pieces were designed to boost a woman's confidence, in a lace install. So
Right.
if you're not completely bald in that area,
Mm-hmm.
suffering from alopecia, you would be using a lace install,
Right.
right? Because you
Right.
already don't have hair there. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
whatever treatments. I do believe your hair can come back. Your hair can be restored,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because why do bald men shave their hair? Because their hair is growing back. So
Right.
your hair will grow back. It may not grow back in the places in which we desire, but proper treatments, some people just don't have the money to put in that particular area to give them hair. So they just say, well, I'll just go bald,
Mm.
right? Yeah.
Right.
So it all depends on where your confidence lies in your look and your affordability.
Right.
For those of us that have the money, we invest in proper um beauty treatments that will
Mm-hmm.
enhance
Mm-hmm.
and preserve our beauty. We don't go and receive a facial and expect to come out there uh and our skin is not improved. The whole
Right.
purpose of
Right.
going to receive a facial is to improve your skin.
Exactly.
So, whatever home treatments that you're using, sure, that would be your daily maintenance. But we go in and receive, beauty is a luxury,
Right.
right?
Mm-hmm. Now you and
So,
right. You and I was just talking
mhm,
about that. I was like, that's you know what I mean?
mhm,
Like, that's more of a luxury, but we do have a lot of
mhm,
women that can't take care of their hair. But one of the things that stood out to me was that um how many times she kept going. And I said, well, was there ever uh thank you, Dolly, Fairchild.
mhm,
Hi, Samet Edis. Hello, thank you for stopping
mhm,
by. one of the things that prompt me, you know, because I listen to what is going on, I was like, that automatically tells me that this is one of them natural hairs, you know, not to throw shade at the natural hairstylists, because we got professional natural hairstylists that do excellent work. But we have these women that say, well, I ain't doing no chemicals. Come in with your hair already blow dried, wash. I'm going to braid it down and I'm going to sew this on. And this is how much you're going to pay, right? So she's one of those hairstylists, but she has made a name for herself because everybody going to her. But some of the things that the lady was saying that she said, I was like, she had no value in her, like you said, or value in her business, because I said, well, when I'm waiting for her to say she had a consultation, the lady sat her down. She saw that she was 75% of no hair. And not one time did she discuss any of that. You know what she discussed? Buy this hair from me.
Style.
Yeah. Right. It was a quick weave. And she said, buy the already cut hairstyle from me. If you tell bomb. Okay. So, that was the number one. I was like, so automatically when you went there and you went in there and she didn't say, hey, have you been to a doctor? Do you know if that's permanent hair loss or anything like that? I don't know who this is, but the truth, you are done. You're done. Hold on. So hold on, y'all. Yeah. So that's the first thing that kind of I was like, wow, you know. The second thing was, because the lady had lost her hair, and I feel like this, I don't know if it's true because I don't know this hairstylist or anything. But the second thing was, I thought it was just her, but judging by the comments, she is like that across the board. But when it's something that I've learned, and as a person myself, outside of a hairstylist, if people can pick up that you have like a low self-esteem, or you got, you know, certain type of things going on, a lot of people will take advantage of you. They don't look at that in a way and say, you know what I'm saying, and be like, dang, let me help this person out. A lot of people will take advantage of it. So child, I guess they come in the afternoon time, huh? They come at the beginning. So, you know, I was thinking about that. I said, so the lady can tell, because I'm telling you, when she's telling the story, I can look at her and tell she feel defeated. She ended up not being able to go back to her because she brought longer length hair. And the girl was like, no, I told you to buy this exact length of quick weave package. And so she said, well, it came down to she wanted her to buy her own hair. And then when she asked her to braid the back out, the hairstylist told her that's going to be an additional $10. That's when she had a problem, and this is a big issue for me. You got a problem to pay an additional $10. Now, I'm not in agreement with clients telling hairstylists, cosmetologists, whatever service they getting done. If they're getting if they're getting their nails done, if you're getting your skin done, I don't think that you are in a position to tell a professional what they should charge. If you don't like the price, then you leave and you go elsewhere. But the problem was, she had been so used to going to those type of hairstylists that they charge $25 or whatever it is to do the quick weave, that when the lady said an additional 10, she was like, oh, no. So even though we say, oh, they don't have the money for these things, they really do. We buy what we like. We spend money on what we like. You understand what I'm saying? Like, so we was having this talk about the movie that I was in, and Dawn was my makeup artist. And I was on a tight budget. But at the end of the day, I know Dawn's work. She is known everywhere, whatnot, but it wasn't about her popularity. It was her character. It was your professionalism. It was the fact that you were very clean. I paid attention to you using things, throwing that out, doing what you need to do. So I love all those things, right? Oh, they say they loving your glasses, Dawn. So,
thank you.
Yeah, so I am willing to pay whatever your price is, and I'm not gonna go back and forth with you, because to be honest, it was very reasonable for a movie. You know what I mean? To come on the set and do all the things that you did. So I always side eye people when they complain. I'm like, you complain about that, but then you're trying to, you know what I mean? But then when I'm talking to you or when I'm hanging out with you, you're spending money on other things. I'm like, well, that right there could have went towards, you know what I mean? But you can't count people pockets. So for me, I tell women all the time, either you gonna pay less now, you can pay less,
Mhm.
and you're gonna get
Mhm.
somebody who does not have any education when it comes to your hair. They don't care. You're just another dollar in their pocket. And you're gonna keep going to them until that hair is so thin, and your edges are gone and everything is gone. And then in the end, you're going to end up paying because you may not see it. You may not come and get a hair replacement. But what you will do is you're going to go out and you're going to be buying wig after wig after wig and add some weave, glue in your hair. Before you know it, count them dollars within. If you give 3 months, count the dollars of how much money you spending versus, and now you have to because you don't have the hair, versus you saying, hey, let me do this in moderation. I can't have a sew in for 6 months to a year. I can't do that consistently because my hair is dying up under there. Instead of you doing that,
Absolutely.
you understand what I'm saying, Don? So
Absolutely.
that's where she had the problem at. The problem was when the lady said an additional $10. Now she's like, oh,
Mhm.
no, $10. You didn't have that problem when the first part started breaking out. You understand what I'm saying? I said, now that's years. It took years to
Mhm.
get to that point, and it's a lot of us
Mhm.
that think that it is impossible for that to happen to us. You understand what I'm saying?
Mhm.
What would you
Absolutely.
have done if that was that was a new client coming into your salon? What would have been your response? How would that have gone? I'm just curious.
You have to go in and give a consultation.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What is the goal here? So
Right.
when we go in and we're looking to get this hairstyle, right?
Mm-hmm.
What's the best method of applying this particular hairstyle to your hair?
Right.
Okay. What is the overall outcome gonna be?
Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
know?
Right.
Okay. So is it a quick weave? Okay, if I decide that I'm going to get a quick weave and I'm already suffering from alopecia in the front area, two things I can do. I know I'm gonna have to use a base, which is preferably a breathable stocking cap,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Right.
In order to secure the unit. Okay, so that's the foundation. So the foundation of your style,
Mm-hmm.
say it's not a quick weave. Okay, I want some braids. Okay, um you have to figure out a way to put some braids in her hair where she's suffering from complete alopecia in the
Right.
front, right?
Right.
She only has she's 70 over what, 80%, 70%,
Seventy-five
um
percent
um
hair loss.
75% with alopecia. So
Yeah.
she has 25% hair, which is in the nape area of her head.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So whatever install you plan on putting on, you're gonna have to put all that tension in the nape area in order
Mm-hmm.
to secure the unit. So
Right.
you say to yourself during the consultation with the client, is this the best method to protect the integrity of the rest of the hair that you have on your head? So are we trying to grow your hair, the frontal area?
Mm-hmm.
Because if we're trying to grow the frontal area where the alopecia is, you're not going to be receiving an install at all,
Right. Right.
right? Because that area needs to breathe, that area needs treatment,
Mm-hmm.
that area needs to be nourished in order to promote hair growth. So
Right.
no tension is is what will be applied for that particular service. So you have to give a thorough consultation with the client.
Uh-huh.
And she may say, well, I don't care. I just want to look good.
Right.
Okay. Right. I don't care about all that. I just wanted to look good. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's why that's why you're in the state that you're in, because you don't care. You're
Right.
more concerned with the style,
Mm-hmm.
right? As opposed to preserving the integrity of your hair.
And
So
so,
that's like driving around, in a luxury vehicle with some ball tires. It makes no sense. You understand what I'm saying? So I'd rather invest in this fancy car and not have, be riding around with some bald tires. So you have to make it
Right,
make sense. It's the same thing when it comes to your hair and preserving the integrity of your hair. You have
right.
to go ahead and secure the proper steps in doing that.
And you know what? I love the analogy
Mhm.
that you just did. So
Mhm.
now we're going to go into talking about a woman's worth. And I did a few videos for this week coming up, and that's one of the things that I really wanted to talk about. Like, why do we make the decisions that we make, right? So I always go back to the little girl, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like, you remember in high school, I'm going far as back as high school, junior high, elementary, it always was that one girl that had pretty long hair, a few girls that had pretty long hair. They had the back in our days, it was the curly perm. I knew
Mhm.
these two sisters. Matter of fact, I still do one of the sisters' hair. I've been knowing them since they was like 5. And
Mhm.
they had long hair all the way down to their back. Now I had hair, but not long like that. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And I always cut my hair. I don't know why, I was fixated on cutting the hair. But you always had, your daughter come home, say, I want my hair. Can you put some beads on my hair to make it feel longer? So you
Mhm.
go through
Mhm.
that stage or whatever. But I think it comes a time, I don't know if it's high school or junior high or when we become young women, right? And now we're in competition. Like I always use somebody in like the little girl, Jada Waiter. She's a beautiful chocolate girl. You know what I'm talking about? No, like child. But she's a pretty girl and she went and did a pixie cut.
Right.
She's one of these rappers' boyfriends, or girlfriends, I mean.
Uh-huh.
A beautiful
Mhm.
girl.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
she did a pixie cut. Girl looks so beautiful. Like she looked like a pretty,
Wow.
like
Mhm.
Betty Boop. She looked just like Betty Boop, a black Betty Boop, right? Just too cute. But
Yes.
she didn't like her hair short at all. She went and cut it and she hated it. And she went and put her extensions back in. She got the K things, but she got the
Mhm.
money to do those things. And then the next thing you
Mhm.
know, you start seeing everybody going to get a pixie cut. Now, the pixie cut is not for everybody. That's number one.
Right.
But because
Mhm.
this young lady who's very popular, she's an influencer on social media and different things she has going on, a lot of girls her age was going out saying, I'm going to get a Jada cut. It wasn't a Jada. She made it really pretty, the Betty Boop, but everybody wasn't rocking it that way, right? But I
Mhm.
think that that's one of the things to me because I'm like, how does it start out? So I think it starts out where I want to look like this person, or you know what I mean. I want to everybody doing this trend or everybody doing this hairdo, so I want to do it. And then maybe if your hair long, you like forget it. I'll put some quick weave in it, and that's how the stuff start. Because you got long hair and you just have them braided up and just glue
Mhm.
that hair on, put the paper on the hair, and then next thing you know, it's a vicious cycle because now you got scalp issues. You never had scalp issues before, but now all of a sudden you got psoriasis and everything in your hair, and you like, I don't understand why. But it starts like from that point, and then as you now you're addicted to it because now you're like, you know what? I don't want to wear my hair. I want to give my hair a break, and then you start giving these excuses, and before you know it, you're doing different things. Hello, Lizette. You're doing different things, right, to your hair, putting more extension to now you lazy. I don't even, and I see a lot of women that have beautiful hair up under their extensions, but they're lazy, right? And then before you know it, then the hair loss starts happening, and it's just like a snowball. It's snowballing before you know it,
Mhm.
right? Because now you're
Mhm.
frustrated, and I'm trying to imagine that, but in the process of that, you're losing your like you said. I love this thing you said before. You're losing your identity. You don't have to
Yes.
lose your identity. Yeah, I love when you said that. And so I'm looking at these women and I'm like, where did it get to a point? But I think when they first saw the hair loss, instead of saying, let me get the help, they just kept going.
Mhm.
You know what I
We're
mean?
only
But
interested in the style.
yeah, more
Mhm.
interested in the style. So then that makes me
Mhm.
say, well, did you ever care about yourself, your self-worth?
Right.
Did you ever say, like, do you ever think about the fact that when people see you, if that's your big thing, because you want to show, you want to stunt on people, whatever the case may be, don't you think that we're thinking like, you know, nobody really cares. I don't know if that makes sense. Like a lot of people don't care about what you got going on or whatever. It's more of you. So if you continue to go this route and you know what's going on under your hair or even your skin. I've seen women that pile makeup on and they got skin issues, right? So if you
Mhm.
know these things are going on, then that screams to me something's going on here up in here where you don't know your worth.
Absolutely.
It's yeah, it's like the women now that's wearing negligee out talking about they going to a party. I'm like, there's nothing hidden. Everything is see-through
Right.
lace. It doesn't
Right.
scream. It screams to a man, okay, I already know what time it is with her. But it screams
Mhm.
to me as a woman saying, oh, something is really going on inside of her. I don't see you as a bad whatever. I see you as somebody that's struggling with something going on. Does that make sense?
It does.
Yeah.
Your appearance speaks volumes. It tells the world where you are, what's going on with you. The same thing with your hair, your skin. You
Mm-hmm.
know, your beauty says, "Am I in distress?" You know what I mean?
Mm,
It doesn't
right,
necessarily have to have makeup on. Your skin says the world that I'm stressed. Your skin,
right.
it shows in your body, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So uh taking care and protecting yourself is paramount. You know,
Mm-hmm.
now in the summer, we have to protect our skin. Black does
Right.
crack, you have to wear sunscreen.
Right.
Okay. We can get skin cancer. We probably die from other causes,
Mm-hmm.
but via diabetes, but we need to protect our skin from the sun. It's the summer. We need to stay hydrated.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. If you suffer from alopecia and you're interested in in growing your hair needs the sun. It needs the vitamin D. Okay. So
Mm-hmm.
you need to go in with natural treatments in
Mm-hmm.
terms of trying to restore your beauty. The goal is to maintain, enhance,
Mm-hmm.
protect your beauty.
Right.
That's the main goal. Okay, so when you go in and receive any form of beauty services, you need to have this in mind. That's why self identity is so important. Do I love myself as I am?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so if I love myself as I am, I will make better decisions on enhancing myself as
Right.
into a better person via um I want great skin. Great skin doesn't come from piling makeup on your skin on the it's not a topical thing. It's an inner
Right.
thing. So you have to build yourself up from the inside to produce the outside. Okay? So are you getting the proper rest? Okay? Are you di- um doing the proper intake in terms of food? Are you eating? Are you on a right diet? So we have to go in and make ourselves consciously aware of every single action that we do. Are we doing it to preserve, protect, and enhance our inner and outer beauty? Every single decision that you make as you move about that day. When you wake
Mm-hmm.
up, am I thankful for the day? Am I thankful
Right.
for where I am and where I'm going? Am I hopeful? Do I have purpose? You know what I mean? Those
Right.
without purpose will surely die. So we have to, wake up with a sense of gratitude. And if
Mm-hmm.
that's not your personal space, you have to create that. Whether
You
you
know,
go outside, whether I know I'm well aware of the state of the world, right?
right.
Right? But we still have to breathe. Okay. We still have to inhale. Okay. Because if we can't celebrate the moment that we are currently in, we
Mm-hmm.
can't look forward to the next step that we're going, where we're
Right.
the next,
You
the
know
future.
what? I was just
Hmm.
thinking the other day, I was like packing up some stuff and moving some things, and I ran over some paperwork and I saw my mom's
Hmm.
death certificate. My mom passed away in '08.
Hmm.
And
Right.
it never dawned on me. I never really read it to see actually, because I knew she had cancer. She had bone cancer. But when I
Mhm.
went and looked at it, do you know she had skin cancer?
Oh,
I was
wow.
like, oh my God, she has skin cancer. You know what I mean? I was
Mm.
like, man.
Mhm.
And it's very true. Like, we live in Miami. My mom never thought
Mhm.
like that. You know what I mean? You just going out, you
Mhm.
standing
Mhm.
outside, you know,
Mhm.
she got all the trees in the back. She out there pulling her fruits and stuff. You're not thinking that you can have skin cancer. But yeah, that's one of the things that was on her death certificate was that she had skin
Mhm.
cancer. Now it could have been
Absolutely.
also that because she had a bone and it metastasized, but
Mhm.
when I spoke to the doctor, whatever, they said they know she had been had the skin cancer. So, and she had the skin cancer for years and didn't even know it. Wouldn't go to the doctor,
Wow.
anything. So I
Isn't
thought back
that
on it because
something?
she, huh?
Yeah, I'm saying that's that's common within our community.
Right, right. It's
Mhm.
common within our community because we don't,
Mhm.
you know how that is. We web and D in
Yeah.
it. Web and D, honey. What that?
Mhm.
What's that? Oh, you know what I mean? So that's what we do. But um,
Mhm.
I just thought about that when you brought up the skin cancer. I had meant to tell you about that I had saw that and then it took me back. My
Mhm.
mom had that skin cancer for some years because she had this like it looked like it was like a blackhead, but it had grew kind of big
Oh,
and it was
wow.
some
A
and
lesion
she
on.
didn't know what it was. My mom had really pretty smooth skin, so it was kind of
Mhm.
weird that
Mhm.
we couldn't figure it out. She wouldn't go to the doctor. She went to my grandma's house. They
Mhm.
island people say like, honey, put this on there, put the leaf and all this. Child, none of that worked. So
All the
she
bush
had that on
medicine.
her for years. Yeah. So it was
Yeah.
like, oh my God, that's what it was. And we never. She just lived with it till she went away. She passed away.
Mm.
So that's something. But I wanted to say too, like I have a friend that said that it was a girl that was in our church and they would take pictures. And she was saying how the girl would not take a picture unless she had makeup on. Now I'm gonna be the girl was naturally pretty, right?
Mhm.
But she didn't think that she was pretty. I mean, when I say she was gorgeous, she was a gorgeous girl. She looked kind of like just smooth skin, you know what I mean? Real smooth, pretty skin, right? Olive skin.
Mhm. Mhm.
And I was like, what? She's like, girl, she will
Mhm.
not take a picture because we was out somewhere at a park or whatever. And she was like, wait, let me put my makeup on. Then you out there sweating, we playing games and stuff. And she was like, wait, let me put my makeup on. And I was
Mhm.
just like, oh wow. And
Mhm.
she saw that, but I said, oh, she has a low self-esteem. She said, ain't no way, because she's a pretty girl.
Mhm.
I said, no. Somebody said something happened or
Mhm.
whatever. And she went and piled the makeup on her face to take the photo in the sun, in the sweat. And she put it on her face. I know it's a lot of women that are dealing with that. You know what I mean? And it is very evident that you don't really know your worth. It's so many beautiful women that we come
Mhm.
across. You understand, especially in our
Mhm.
field in the beauty world, we see the most prettiest women have the most insecurities. They have the
Mhm.
most low self-worth, and then they end up
Mhm.
in relationships with people
Mhm.
with people where there's when it comes to men, they end up in these relationships where it can be abusive or whatever because they don't think enough of themselves. You understand what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So
Yes.
it's like it's a weird thing. So I just really wanted to get on that topic about a woman's worth because that is something that we have to tackle, because if you start now and like you said, Don, working on the inside out, and that is,
Mhm.
what does that look like? You understand? Working on the inside out is, like you said, one of the things
Working
I do
from.
is wake up,
Mhm.
do your gratitude. Oh Lord, Mr. Jermaine Johnson just landed, ladies. Lord help us. You back from vacation? We are, we're in a state where we're depending on others. I have a question. Go ahead and ask your question. We're in a place where we looking for validation when we should have validation within ourselves. We're looking for outside love to come in to tell us and to show us love, or to love on us, but they don't know how to. No one can do that because you don't even know how to love yourself. You understand what I'm saying? So a lot of times, and it's funny, Jermaine is on here, but one of the comments he made last week when we did the live was he was talking about the fact that you we looking at the women and how you dressing, you know what I mean? You don't leave nothing to the imagination. And in your mind, you thinking like, yeah, they you getting the compliments. Your body is tea, as they say, your body is tea and everything. But at the end of the day, it says something about you. It really, really does. You know what I mean? And then you get into these, the situations where we're in situations based on what we put ourselves out there, however way you what's the word, you're putting yourself out there. Then when you get a catch, you catch a fish, but it's not what you want to throw it back. And now you
Mm-hmm.
want somebody to give you some respect, and you want somebody to love you and then to honor you and then see you as the queen that you are. But that's not what we're bringing out. What we're actually
Mm-hmm.
putting out, we're putting out all of the pain. We're putting out our worthless, how we feel about ourselves out there like that. That's
Mm-hmm.
how I see it. I don't know how you see it, Don, but can you tell us, what does self love look like? How do someone start that has gone through, that is going through something? Maybe they had trauma in a life. Maybe they are going through some things, life changing issues that are going on. What
Mm-hmm.
what would that look like to them to kind of help them? You know what I mean? Get an idea
Mm-hmm.
of how to work on yourself, how to do self love so you can build up your worth. You know,
You have to first tell yourself that I am worthy.
right?
I'm worthy. I deserve better.
Hmm.
If you're not in that better space, you
Right.
know, and you find you some positive affirmations, you have to load yourself up with that. X for
Hmm.
me, and you have to exercise.
Mm.
Everything is about meditation, exercise. I do a lot of yoga, and it's not so much to yes, I need to shed some pounds,
Hmm.
but it's a health journey for me. It's about my
Right.
overall health. You know,
Hmm.
the better my skin is the better my diet is,
Right.
right?
Hmm.
Um, in order for me to still be moving and bones churning, I have to move.
Right.
You have to get up and move. The best thing to fight depression is movement. You
Mm.
know, walk
Hmm.
around the block, walk around the apartment. You know, you can't you know, what you don't want to do is self-medicate. Okay. That means I'm shopping more.
Hmm.
I'm I'm eating out more,
Hmm.
more, you have to cook more because you have to
Right.
control what you're eating, and the hardest thing for us to seems to get control of as humans is our diet, because we have
Yes.
so much accessible to us. If you have the money, you can go and
Right.
buy what you want, right?
Right.
So and if you don't, you can pretty much make it. So, we love food. Food is a connector. I love food. Okay, so I'm a
Yeah.
foodie.
I'm a
So
foodie.
I know that, I'm in a
Hmm.
later stage in life, so I know I need to exercise more to burn those calories because I'm not
Right.
as active as I used to be. So
Hmm.
I exercise every day.
Right.
It's a part of my lifestyle. So
I see you be
exercise
on
is
your bike. You and your husband be on that bike looking all cute and stuff.
well, cute is not what I'm trying to be, but it's really comfortable. you know, it's comfort for me.
Right.
It's my own pace. You know what I'm saying? It allows me to be stronger. My husband
Right.
lost like
Right.
75 pounds riding his bike.
Wow.
So cycling is one of the best forms of cardio that you
Mm.
can do. So
Hmm. I like that.
is recommended from my doctor.
Hmm.
After being in the salon for so many years, You don't realize the toll that the industry takes on the body,
Yep.
and standing on your feet all day. If you're a braider, if you're dealing with chemicals like relaxers, perms, color, you know,
Right.
uh, if the client is subject to an allergic reaction, can you imagine what the stylist is subject to? You know what
Right.
I'm saying? So we don't always test ourselves or the client before applying a color, which we need to.
Right.
When it comes to the overall aesthetics of preserving your beauty, we don't do that. So we have to make it our priority.
Right.
We have to put it in the forefront. My health is important to me. Okay, it's not.
Right.
I'm not doing it for the gram. I'm not doing it for
I'm telling you.
him. I'm not doing it for her. I'm
Mm-hmm.
doing it for me. It's a conscious effort to preserve. You only get one body. It's not like you're gonna cut your arm off and you're gonna get another arm,
Right.
right? You're not gonna. You have one organ, and the skin is the largest organ on the body, and it's the most abused. It's the
Mm.
most abused. We don't think the amount of abuse that we get put through it. Look at this hot sun in South Florida. It's extremely hot. Today the temperature almost, I think it was almost 90, 99. But you have some
Man.
areas where it's 103, so we have to be conscious of make a conscious effort to protect and preserve our beauty, period.
One thing I do want to share with people, and I understand depression and stuff because I went through that many years ago. And sometimes you have
Mhm.
bouts of it, right? For
Mhm.
me, it was the death of my child, right? And I never really
Mhm.
grieved it. And then
Mhm.
years later, my parents passed away. So when my parents passed away within 1 year, within 4 months of each other, it took a toll on me. And I never forget this because I had moved to North Carolina and I had made a bowl of cereal. But you
Mhm.
don't even realize you're in depression because depression looks different for everybody. I'm one of those people, I kind of internalize things and
Mhm.
I'll still be laughing and joking, but when I'm by
Mhm.
myself, I'm grieving, right?
Right. Mhm.
And I remember I went in the bed and I sat up in the bed and I went to put my knees up and I couldn't breathe. I was like, oh my
Oh
God.
wow. Mhm.
I didn't even notice now. All my life, I always tell the story, say, listen, I graduated high school 74 pounds. So, I was real tiny.
Mhm.
Then I had
Mhm.
two children and I
Mhm.
got up to 120.
Wow.
But when my parents
Mhm.
passed, and it was a lot on me. I had my salon. I was going back and
Mhm.
forth to Miami because my salon was in Oviedo, Florida. I was going
Mhm.
back and forth to Miami because my mom was still here. So I was making sure she get to appointments, doctor appointments, all these
Mhm.
different things. And I didn't realize I put on the weight. Then when my mom passed, we moved to North Carolina. When I went and checked the scale, I had got to 184 pounds.
Yeah, that
Now
weight can
I'm
come
five
quick.
four. That's
Mhm.
Don. You talking about that back was big, and I was like, it almost was like I was in this like maze, and then realized what was going on. I've always
Mhm.
been that way. I'm kind of one of the people I tune everything out. I just shut down,
Mhm.
and I was like, let me get a trainer. So I got a trainer.
Mhm.
I started working out, and it is very true, exercising, but I couldn't smile, I couldn't laugh. I went to the doctor, he gave me some medicine. One, I took one pill and I
Mhm.
was just smiling the whole day. And my client came in, her mom had died, which was my client, and she was like, I can't even tell you the name of that medication. But I was like this, she was like, my mama died. I love that lady. And I was like this. I couldn't cry. I was like, what am I on? Like she was like, Lethra, you heard what I said? I said, I heard what you said. I just can't cry. And you know what I mean?
Mhm.
So it wore off. And then of course I had to deal with the family and stuff like that. But I was like, we ain't doing no medication. So I had to, I'm not a person that really believe in that stuff. So,
Mhm.
but I'm a person believe in the Bible. So I really
Mhm.
clung to my Bible as always. And the other thing I did was I found things to make me laugh each
Mhm.
day because I would wake up and I didn't want to be here. I'm just being honest.
Mhm.
A lot of people, you know, and then we got to go out to the world. And I felt like I was always performing because I didn't want people to really see how much pain I was in. So every day I would watch Red Fox. I would watch some type of comedy, anything comedy that made me laugh. And every day I would go in the bathroom in the morning and say one affirmation about myself. You're beautiful. You know what I mean? These different things. And that took day after day. I ended up losing the salon. So I had lost a lot. '08 was like a brutal year for me. You know what I mean? Because I moved to North Carolina and all those different things. But it took for me to go through that, and I had to fight for that because I realized I had my children watching. And that's something that we don't realize too, is that the way we grieve, the way we go through depression, different things. If you have children, they're watching how you go through life, how you handle relationships, how you know, how you grieve, how different things, how you are, and you'll be surprised your kids end up doing the same thing. So I had to be mindful and say, I got to get myself some help because my daughter is always right up under me. So I know she's getting this too. You understand what I mean? And
Absolutely.
so I had no self-worth. I really did not I can't even explain it to you. It's almost like it was this interview with what's the lady name who did the poetry? She passed away, and Dave Chappelle. Uh
Maya Angelou?
what's her name?
Maya Angelou?
Maya Angelou. And if y'all ever can find Maya Angelou and Dave Chappelle, this was when Dave Chappelle had walked away from all that money, and they had these things where they were crossing people who were icons, right, in the comedy and whatever, and they did these interviews, and Maya Angelou was interviewing Dave Chappelle, but it took a like the interview turned, and she was talking about the fact how he she said, you know, how he walked away, and she said a lot of people was depending on you and they was mad at you because the money, and he bowed his head down, and she said the depression that you're in, she said it's in the bending of your elbow. I said that was the best way to describe it. Something you can't describe to people. It's like a storm, like a black cloud that comes over you. But that is what well, that's what I was dealing with. So when she was describing it, she said it's like bending of your elbow, meaning that you can't even get to it. You can't even explain to people what that's like. It was a powerful thing, but it helped me. And then now y'all look at Dave Chappelle now, but he went through a lot. A lot of people go through things. So this live, this today was about our women, our sisters that we see, and it comes out. What we're telling you is that how you treat yourself. I saw a little girl today. She had a gorgeous shape, everything cute. Came out with that doggone bonnet on her head. I said, Jesus, honey. She had the red bonnet to match the red jumper. She was cute. But I looked at her head. I said, no, baby, that is just not what. That's not what we're doing. But a lot of us, our worth comes out, our self-esteem comes out in how we carry ourselves, how we allow people in our lives, and how we're being treated. That's all, it all comes back. You're the least common denominator always in your life. And so we wanted to do this video to talk about why would you make a decision like that young lady, the subject that we started talking about, that young lady that went to this hair salon and was just basically being mentally, verbally abused. You know what I mean? When somebody tell you can't even bring the purse in, and she said when she finally told her complaint, she said the hairstylist told her, y'all, such and such are the reason why y'all make me not want to do my effing job. That was her response. It wasn't, you know what? I apologize. You know, it wasn't, she didn't have that mindset. A lot of these hairstylists in 2025, they got the celebrity mindset. They doing you a favor by you driving miles away to come to their salon for them to do your hair and for you to give them your money. That's when you know something is wrong. If you are a client that you're going to someone and you can't ask about a consultation, you can't, you know what I'm saying? You can't ask about your hair, you can't communicate with them, you know what I mean? All these different things, and you're in that type of situation, you need to walk away. Because the minute you allow someone to continue to disrespect you, dishonor you, no matter what relationship you in, whether it's business, whether it's marriage, whatever the case may be. When you get to that point, you have to say, let me walk away from this. And if a lot of you stop supporting
breaking news and top stories
these hairstylists, you would not be in those positions, because they'll know how to humble themselves, and they'll understand that you drove past 50 salons to get to them in their house or wherever they are to get to them. You could have made 50 different choices to come to them, to hand them your hard-earned money that you paid for to get the service done. But instead, we don't think like that, because why? Somewhere, maybe we're at home and we deal with somebody talking down to us or disrespecting us like that. Maybe that's what that is. So when you come into that environment, you become immune to it. That's a normal thing. That's not normal. I'm telling you, that's not normal. There's no way. Don, have you ever spoke to any of your clients like that? If they ask a question?
Never.
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 They can't tell you how they want their hair. The lady told her it was a lot of glue that slid down in the little bit of hair she had. Lady cussed her out. I said, you can't make this stuff up.
What?
And so, yes, that's why I asked a licensed cosmetologist. That's why I love this channel and the culture and the community, because we can talk about this stuff and there are solutions. The solution is stop going to them. I wouldn't go to somebody in a grocery store that I was purchasing something from and they handled me and talked to me that way. Now,
right.
Depending on the state I was in. Now, back then, what I just told you about being depressed, it probably wouldn't even bother me. I would just already selling. I wouldn't even care. You know what I mean? But I take that back. I grew up in Miami. We be always ready for you. You don't we're not the customer service place, but we know who to talk to and who to play with. You know what I mean? What's that thing Jamaican people say? Duppy know who to fight. You ever heard that? Your husband ever said that?
I've never heard that one.
Oh yeah, I heard that a lot, because my cousins are from Jamaica. They say Duppy know who to fight. It's something like that they say. Yeah, you know who to play with.
Right.
You know who to play with. You get in that look like you don't want this. You don't want the kind of problems in your life. So I'm listening to that lady, and that's a grown lady. Then the daughter went off on her about $10.
Oh my goodness.
Huh?
It's some horrible practices, but when you negotiate on price, or when you go in on price, when you're negotiating on a person's skill set,
right?
As a consumer, you don't have to take that, right? You don't have to take that. So you don't have to be assaulted. You don't have to. That's why the consultations are so important. It's a chance for the client and the stylist to see if we can have a relationship.
Right. Right. That's something. Don, did your thing freeze? I think your thing froze. I'm still talking. Did mine freeze? Lord Jesus. But yeah, that's what that is. That is, I don't know, something going on with Don's channel. Donna froze. I mean, I hope it's not mine, but I have a question. They never asked a question, but I just wanted to bring this topic up on worthiness. Do you feel worthy? I want you to question yourself if you're still watching and you're listening. Do you, Lord, what is that? Do you have self-worth? Do you have whatever that is? Yeah, Don went off. Don, you back? What? Did mine pause?
I did. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, for real? I'm just talking. Okay. Well, I was just saying, like, the whole purpose of this thing, like we said earlier, was I want you guys, like, you don't have to comment or whatever, but if there's something that you're dealing with, don't self-medicate yourself, as Don was saying. Deal with it, and you do it day by day. Don, you coming out a little shaky again. Am I doing the same thing? No, because I see myself on the thing. I'm fine. But hello. They don't want us to be great, but we got the last 4 minutes, 4 minutes and some seconds to finish it up. But definitely wanted you. You still breaking up. Yeah, I don't see any questions going down. I think it was one of those these is one of those topics that have to be talked about. I'm just one of them people. I be wanting to get to the core of things. Bro, we're freaking live this chat. Bro, I don't think any bros are on here, but thank you. Um, so I was going to say that for those of you that may not want to comment, still feel some kind of way. Understand that however you represent yourself, a lot of times you may think that you're hiding whatever it is that you're going through, but a lot of times when we're in that state, Don, you still breaking up. That when you're in that state of where you have a low self-esteem or different things like that, it comes out. I don't know who this is, but the bro man, you are done. Goodbye. Goodbye, bro. So yeah, so I just wanted to bring that topic out. Look like we're having some technical difficulties. That's fine. If you have any questions, go ahead and put it out. Hopefully um Don will come back up or whatever. You have a question, Damien? Okay. Go ahead and ask your question. Don, you breaking up real bad. I hear you. Good, good, good. Okay, you coming through.
Okay.
Who is this? Oh Lord, these people. Child, I don't know. We got some weirdos, y'all. The man wanted to know why he have diarrhea after he drink beer. Um, I don't know, sir. Stop buying cheap beer. I don't know. We are done for today. If we don't have any more questions today, I pray that this live, you guys go back and watch it again. I pray that some of the information that we gave out, that it helps you, especially helping you if you're one of those women, people, especially the women that are dealing with knowing your worth. It doesn't make sense to tell people I know my worth, and inside you're dealing with a lot of issues, and you haven't really taken care of, you're not taking care of yourself. It is what's the word, um what's the word? Don has said it earlier. It's crazy for you to try to. It's like you're trying to sell people that you're good and everything is fine, but then your hair, you're losing your hair. You got skin issues and different things like that. You're not really taking care of yourself, and then turn around and say that you know your worth. There's no way those two can stay. It can be the same. You can't know your worth and not take care of yourself and try to take care of everybody else. That's a lot of things we do. We think that our worth is based on the history or the things that we have done for other people. And so, no, knowing your worth is taking care of yourself, giving yourself self love and self care. All right. So I pray that this video blesses you. Don, it's still a little choppy on your side. I'm not really sure what's going on. I hope that they can hear me. I don't know if I'm choppy, but we will see you guys next Sunday, Lord's will, with a new topic. We love you. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure you like and share, and we'll see you next week. Bye, everybody.
All right.